Welcome everyone. This topic illustrates the use of submodel mode in SimCenter AimSim, and specifically how to set submodels for all the components in your system. You will also learn how to automatically set the simplest submodels to all the components in your system. Let's first quickly check to make sure we have all the necessary libraries loaded to build our model properly. We will be looking at a simple mechanical model of a car suspension. In order to load the necessary libraries to build a model, go to the Sketch option on the top toolbar and select Category Path List from the drop-down menu. A dialog box containing the available categories will show up. In the Libraries tab, select the necessary category and add it in the current path list and hit OK. For this model, we will need the signal control library and the mechanical library to build it. A properly built model should have all the components and lines with complete connections. If this condition is not met, it is not possible to enter the submodel mode. For the purpose of this demonstration, all the necessary components have been dragged into the sketch area from their respective libraries. Before we connect any components or lines, it is essential to look at their external variables to check for compatibility. The information about outputs and inputs is useful in discovering why submodels can or cannot be connected with each other. To look at external variables, right-click on the desired component, select External Variables from the list, and press the External Variables button. A dialog box containing all the external variables will appear on the screen. So, let's connect all our components and lines properly. First, we connect the mass component, which represents the mass of the vehicle, to a zero force source. Then, we connect the spring and damper components, which represent the suspension, using this linear connector. Next, connect another mass, which represents the wheel mass, using another linear connector. Then a spring damper assembly, which represents the tire stiffness. And finally, a signal converter, which converts a dimensionless signal to displacement, and a signal source representing the road profile. Now that all connections are established, let's switch to the submodel mode next. When switching to the submodel mode for the first time, submodels are set automatically for some components and lines. To move to the submodel mode, click on the Submodel tab located in the contextual toolbar at the top. If any component or line does not have a submodel associated with it, it will appear with a bold background. For example, in the system, submodels are not assigned to any components, so they appear with a bold background. Except for the signal source component, which has a lighter background, which means that a submodel was automatically associated with it. A submodel is automatically assigned to a given component or line if there is only one submodel available for it, and this submodel is compatible with its adjoining component or line submodels, or there is more than one submodel available for it, but only one is compatible with its neighboring submodels. No submodel is automatically assigned to a given component or line if there is more than one submodel available and is compatible with its neighboring submodels. In this situation, the user must manually select a submodel for this component or line from a list of suitable submodels. Submodels can be set to the desired components in a few ways. The easiest way to automatically set a submodel for every component and line that has no associated submodel is by using the Premiere Submodel button from the contextual toolbar. This associates the simplest submodel to each component and line in the system. To manually select submodels, you can double-click the component, which opens up a dialog box comprising a list of suitable submodels to choose from. You can also right-click on the desired component and select Set Submodel option, which also opens up the same dialog box. Or you can select the Set Submodel option from the contextual toolbar at the top of the window. Compatibility checks are made with the adjoining component submodels. This means that the submodels which are not compatible are not included in this list. Once a desired submodel is selected from the dialog box, press OK, and the submodel will be associated with the component. As mentioned earlier, once a submodel is associated with a component, it appears with a lighter background as seen with this mask component. You can set the same submodels to similar components at once by holding the Control key to select multiple components and following the same procedure as mentioned before. For this example, we will set the simplest submodels to all the components at once by using the Premiere Submodel option. Once all the components have been associated with submodels, our system is ready for the next steps.